what do you make of the narrative coming out of the Eagles win over the Packers is that it was unimpressive on offense and a problem potentially for the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl? What's your 2 cents on that one, Daniel?
I think every Super Bowl team has a game where they're not clean, where it doesn't look pretty, and you just find a way to win when you don't have your A stuff. I don't think they had their A stuff offensively, but they still won and then ended up, at least from the score standpoint, being convincing, even though it was in jeopardy late. I mean, I go back to the Tampa Super Bowl with Tom Brady. I mean, remember that game against Washington? That was, not a flawless exhibition, but they kind of got through that game and you survive and then you get rolling from there. My takeaway from that game was not Jalen Hurts related, was not, Philly offense related, I'm sorry that the guys got hurt, but I mean, have you seen a team hit more physical than the way that they were hitting in that game? I mean, Elton Jenkins is pulling, and Nolan Smith, instead of sitting there and kind of bracing for it and trying to absorb it, he's like a missile and knocked him out of the game, attacking a pulling guard. And then it was just one after another after another. Every time they hit somebody, they were leaving the game. I mean, that was a physical Vic Fangio defense. Now, Nakobe Dean is a big loss for them. He'd been playing lights out, and he's grown into what we saw when we were talking about him in that draft. Coming out of Georgia as the leader of that team, that's a big loss. But my takeaway from that was no matter who they played next, if they played that physical, they're going to be tough to knock out.
Well, and then the Ravens and how they performed, and they're going to Buffalo next, and that's the marquee event of next weekend, and then leading to an AFC Championship game that's going to be something else as well. And if they run like that, doesn't matter where the Ravens have to play, right? And we saw what I'm sure DaCosta and everybody else in that front office saw when they saw Derrick Henry raise his hand and say, I'll play for you. This is it, right? Like, to have him do what he did, and Lamar was talking about how he's like Lightning McQueen. I just sit back and I enjoy watching cars play out, and that's it. Like, right there, that's the formula for the Ravens with their defense playing well to win it all when I look at that game.
Yeah, with Isaiah likely playing the role of Mater,
nice.
I guess.
I like it. I like it.
Anyway, so I have the club in my bag. And my kids are older, too. I think I deserve some credit for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, give him some credit, everybody. Daniel Jeremiah, aging down. Well done.
Yeah. But no, they travel. I mean, everything they do travel, and they're so just. Have you ever seen a team and an organization who knows who they are more than Baltimore? To the point, it's gone from, I remember being in the room when the phrase was first, discussed about play like a Raven. And now every team has their, play like a Jet, play like a whatever. Everybody's kind of adopted that, but that was a Ravens thing first and foremost. And it was, we have to understand what our guys look like. And so when we go out and scout, it's gotten to the point now where we can be on the set of the draft and sit there and go, well, they're going to take this guy. Be in free agency and we go, oh my gosh, Derrick Henry's a free agent. Well, he'll go to the Ravens. I mean, that guy was born to play for the Ravens. He's a perfect fit for them. Steve Smith, Anquan Bolden, like these type of players who are just so physical and so tough. The Ravens select them, or those players end up finding their way there. And that's who they are. I know there's the Super Bowl and I know there's the conference championship games. If this was a pay-per-view fight night, those would be on the top of the billing. But Rich, this is like when you get the list of the fights and you're like, well, I don't know, man. There's that fight 3 down there between the Bills and the Ravens. That sure feels like the main event to me. I cannot wait for that one.
Yeah, I mean, is that the difference? Stopping Derrick Henry? Like, what's your first blush 2 cents on that divisional Sunday finale?
Well, you don't stop Derrick Henry, you have no chance.
Right.
And that doesn't guarantee anything because now you still got to deal with Lamar and what he's doing. But I think you have to start there and you have to devote bodies to it. They're good. They have a lot of depth up front. Buffalo does. And they're going to have to roll guys through and keep them fresh and play well. But I also, you get to the other side of it, I think the Ravens are a little susceptible on the back end. And Josh Allen's about as dialed in as you can be. And when you watch him, I always just feel like it's whatever you want to, whatever analogy you want to use. Is it the uncle? Is it the uncle at Thanksgiving who goes outside and plays with with the kids and the nephews and just looks bigger and he's all-time quarterback and it doesn't belong out there? That's what it feels like with Josh Allen. I got a call from my dad who was just kind of, watching the games, and I don't think he watches a lot of the Buffalo Bills, so I think it was one of the first times he'd seen him this year, and it was like 10 minutes of my dad, who's 83 years old, just gushing about, I couldn't believe that Josh Allen's a thing. Like that's, I didn't know that was possible,
right,
to have somebody that big, that athletic, and that talented.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.